Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Welcome back to another episode of Timeout with Makali. This one, it's a little bit different. Today, I am on my live stream right now. We're doing another episode of Timeout with Makali. This time, we're doing on the live stream. Today, we're talking about the NFL Week 1 slate is now over. We're recapping the Sunday slate, also the Monday Night Football game, the Thursday Night Football, and the Friday game as well. Today we're talking about the end of the show, The Summer I Turned Pretty, me thinking about Sabrina Carpenter's new album, and yeah, that's pretty much it. We'll get into it right as we go. Today we're also in a different setup. Literally, we're in a different setup because I'm in college now. I'm at Rutgers University. RU, rah, go. Yes, go Knights. You know, this is where different setup from now. We're at a little different studio. Don't have the microphone. Don't have the different camera. We have some more lighting, of course. We're pretty much in the apartment dorm. So let's get right into it. Alrighty. So the NFL is officially back. Today we'll be talking about, the Bills and Ravens thriller, the Dolphins disaster, my Eagles state of the union with the Eagles. Then we're talking about some other games today. But first, I can't believe this game actually happened. It was a thriller. The Bills and the Ravens. Oh my goodness. This game was probably one of the biggest and probably the greatest regular season games we've ever seen, probably. Could we say that? I think so. I think it's up there, with the Chiefs-Rams in 2018, the 50-point game. The first 3 quarters, I thought these were two completely different football teams. I thought the Bills were just astronomically lower than the Ravens. I mean, my goodness, the Ravens were completely dominating the field. They were completely dominating the Bills from quarters 1 to quarters 3. Derrick Henry, my gosh, my goodness. That guy is 31 years old, and he is still dominating players with ease. I can't believe it. I actually can't believe when I watch him play that he's still 31 years old and he still hasn't hit that wall yet. He might not ever hit the wall. He's just too damn good. And I thought, honestly, Lamar Jackson, in my opinion, he's still like one of the best players in the game. Not still. He is one of the best football players in the game. He was ridiculously efficient. And even Zay Flowers, what a game he had against that Bills zone defense. They absolutely torched the Bills defense, secondary, backers, defensive line. It just seems like the Bills had no answer for the Ravens offense, and they shouldn't, because the Ravens are one of the best offenses in the league. I just thought, John Harbaugh, once again, like, obviously, the Bills won this game 41-40. I just think one of the reasons why the Ravens will potentially not win a Super Bowl is because of the coach. I don't think John Harbaugh is like, yes, he's won a Super Bowl before, yes, but his kryptonite is just late game decisions and just not being able to finish football games. It doesn't make any sense. It never makes any sense. There's no way that you should score 40 points in an NFL football game. You're 40-25 with 4 minutes to go, and you lose. That can't happen. That just can't happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's just no way that should happen. And the Ravens defense, I mean, they played soft towards the end of the game. It's seriously soft. They gave up. They're basically saying, like, this is over. There's no reason to play this hard anymore. I thought they played all right. I mean, Josh Allen is Josh Allen. But yeah, he's still like one of the ones. But it's just like they just completely. I think they just stopped playing. They just thought it was over. I think they started playing soft defense, and they thought it was over. And when another issue for the Ravens is when you look at these past 2 games they played with the Bills. Why did they lose these games? Turnover battle. Whenever the Ravens turn over the football, they lose. When they don't turn over the football, they win these games. I don't think, in my personal opinion, these last two times that the Ravens have played the Bills, these 2 teams met up, I don't think the Bills have been better than Bills were better than. I don't think the Bills were better than on them on Sunday, and I don't think the Bills were better than the Ravens last season in the postseason. I don't think they were the better team. I don't. I think it was the Ravens' self-inflicted wounds is the reason why the Bills are able to win these football games. Yes, Josh Allen played amazing. We'll get to him. But there's no way you can sit there and say that the Ravens' self-inflicted wounds aren't the reason why they're losing these games. It's just what it is. And you look at the turnover battle last year. Lamar had 2 turnovers, and Mark Andrews forgot how to catch a football. That's why they lost. You look at and he forgot how to catch a football on a 2-point conversion. That's why they lost. You look at this past game. Why did they lose this game? Derrick Henry fumbling the football. As soon as Derrick Henry fumbled, I said, "Oh no, oh no." John Harbaugh too. Why did you not go for it on 4th and 3? What was the decision to not go for it on 4th and 3? Like everybody, you could say like, "Oh well, trust your defense, this and that and whatnot." What did the defense show you that they were going to get a stop on that drive? They showed zero conviction at all, because Josh Allen had a pretty ridiculous stat line in the 4th quarter that showed you maybe we should just go for it and ice the game. You have Lamar Jackson. He's one of the best short yardage quarterbacks in the NFL. But apparently Lamar was cramping. He wasn't healthy enough to go for it on 4th down. Then call a timeout. Call a timeout and get him to collect himself so we can get to this 1st down and the game's over. They showed zero conviction at all that the Ravens were going to stop Josh Allen on that drive. Zero. And Josh Allen walked them down with ease. I just think John Harbaugh is like his coaching issues is this reason why they're not gonna win a Super Bowl. That's probably why. And that's the issue. Josh Allen, oh my gosh, he went absolutely nuclear. In the 4th quarter, in the whole game, he had 400 yards and 4 touchdowns. But in the 4th quarter, oh my goodness, Josh Allen went 15 for 21, 251 passing yards, and 3 touchdowns in the 4th quarter alone. Oh my gosh. That stat line is like a regular quarterback stat line in one game. He had a quarterback's complete game stat line. He had a Brock Purdy stat line in 1 quarter. He had 251 passing yards and 15 completions and 3 touchdowns in 1 quarter. How on earth did he do that? Like, he's an alien. I think Josh Allen is an alien at this point. He makes alien plays, he makes alien throws, and he makes alien runs. He is literally an alien. Like, he's just somebody that he's a quarterback that's just not from this earth. And he said, like, look, we're not out of it. We're never out of it. We're still in it. We're still fighting. We're still competing. And he called out his fans for basically saying like, "Yo, come back, stay for a little bit. Have some more faith in us." Because me personally, I thought the game was over too. I thought it was over too when there was like 4 minutes left. But man, Josh Allen is one of them ones, man. He is truly one of the best players in the football. And he played last night. How he played showed that he deserved his MVP trophy from last season. Moving on to the next game, the Bears and the Vikings. I just think the Bears, it's a little weird right now. I think they played strong. I thought they played very well the 1st quarter and the 1st drive. You're like, oh my goodness! Like, Caleb went 10 for 10 on the first 2 drives, and then they just stalled after that. The offense looked very ugly. Defense played okay, in the first half. I mean, actually, they were playing against an inexperienced quarterback, but they stalled and they just couldn't get anything done offensively after the opening drive. They couldn't really do anything. I thought, Caleb didn't play that well in the second half too, especially in the second half. I thought, it's funny. Here's a funny story. Let me just tell you this. When JJ McCarthy, and we'll get to him, when he threw the pick six, I'm literally like, oh man, this was 6-17. I'm really like, man, ugh. And then the next following drive, they go 3 and out and they punt to the Bears. I'm like, oh, this is probably done. I'm going to take a shower. I go take a shower. I come back here. I see on the TV They said Vikings are winning and they just scored a touchdown. I said, what? I said, no way. I said, no way they just came back. Because J.J. McCarthy, the McCarthy truthers, the McCarthy enthusiasts, we have made it. J.J. McCarthy FC, we are here. Kevin O'Connell FC, we are here. This man, Kevin O'Connell, is one of the best offensive-minded coaches in the game. There's no coach that gets the most out of his quarterbacks like Kevin O'Connell does in the NFL right now. Yeah, J.J. McCarthy, he had a really bad pick six, but the way how he was able to bounce back from the pick six, it just showed how mentally tough he was. You should hear some of the guys and his coaches just talking about it. The fact that he was able to play, it didn't rattle him. It didn't throw him off his game. He still came out there firing and led a comeback to a tempo. Like he had 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter alone. He had 3 touchdowns. The throw to JJ was a seed. He's always been so great at throwing over the middle too. The throw to Aaron Jones was a seed. The quarterback run that he did, they went from down 6-17 to scoring 21 unanswered points in the fourth quarter. And I mean, he showed his inexperience, but he also showed flashes of a franchise quarterback. He mentally played like a franchise quarterback yesterday. And Vikings fans should feel very, very good about J.J. McCarthy, for sure. I also want to talk about this. Like, Ben Johnson, LOL, like, he's definitely showed that he was a rookie head coach yesterday. You know, like, the situation with the poor late clock management, like, they scored right before the 2-minute warning, and the kickoff, right, was supposed to be, they were designed to not have the kick returner take it out so the time doesn't go off and the play is before the 2-minute warning, so you save a bunch of time. You save about like 50 seconds. Tell me why that the kicker kicked it and the ball didn't get out of bounds. His leg wasn't enough to get out of bounds. Why did he do that? Why didn't Ben Johnson just tell him, yo, just kick that thing out of bounds. Kick it out of bounds. Hit it towards the sideline. Because if you kick it towards the sideline, yes, it goes to the 40-yard line, but it saves you a bunch of time. So when you get the ball back, it's like 50 seconds instead of like 10 seconds. I think he's got to learn of, because that was poor late clock management, and that's something that he's got to learn. And, just showed his inexperience. So the Bears, I mean, yeah, it was encouraging in the first quarter for sure, but I definitely would not feel great after the first quarter, because it honestly just feels like the Bears, no matter who is at the helm, it just feels very, very like nothing's changed. Honestly, it's just the same thing. It's new players, new coaches, new quarterback, new system. Everything just feels the same with the Bears, honestly, and it's starting to feel like that franchise is very cursed, in my opinion, for sure. And I just don't have any thoughts about the Bears and them moving forward, because honestly it just feels like very much the same, honestly. So yeah. Okay, moving on to the next segment. Cowboys and Birds. The Birds played on Thursday night. They opened the NFL kickoff, playing the first game of the year. Was the banner night game. A lot of thoughts with this game. I just think, honestly, there's a lot of good and bad with this game. A lot of good, a lot of bad. Honestly, hold on. A lot of thoughts within this game. I thought the Cowboys side, I thought Dak looked very sharp. He looked very, very sharp. CeeDee's drops is why the Cowboys really lost this game. And, they played offensively, the Cowboys, I thought, played very well, right before the lightning delay. And, his drops are kind of the reason why they lost this game and the reason why they didn't have a chance to win this game. And it's rare because CeeDee honestly played a good game against Adoree Buffoon Jackson. And, and the Cowboys defense looked like Swiss cheese for the first 3 quarters until, the lightning delay where they got to adjust and play a lot better. And they did. Well, let's move on to the Eagles State of Union. My goodness. Jalen Carter, LOL, what are you doing? What the hell are you doing? There's no way in 2025 that you can get rage baited by Dak Prescott. I just can't believe that ever happened. The Spitgate happened, and I've never seen this in my fandom of the NFL and watching sports. I've never seen players spit at or spit on each other before an NFL football game. Never seen that. Never probably will see that again. Honestly, today the reports came out that Jalen Carter only got fined, and he got fined $57,000. And he gets no additional suspension. They thought his 1 game suspension was served when he got kicked out of the football game, when he got ejected right before the game. Watching this as an Eagles fan, I was so mad. I don't think I've ever been that mad at an NFL at an Eagles player since, like, man, it's been a while. I'm trying to think, who have I been that mad over? I mean, Carson Wentz in 2020 was disastrous. I just stopped caring after, like, he played awful. There's Byron Maxwell. He was terrible. There's a couple, but Jalen Carter definitely got to, like, my top 3 level of that. Been mad over an Eagles player before. Don't get me wrong, I love Jalen Carter. He's one of the best defensive players in the National Football League. Don't make no mistake about that. It's just like, bro, you cannot in 2025 get rage baited by Dak Prescott. Can't happen. It just can't happen. And honestly, I think Dak should have gotten suspended. I think not suspended. I think he should have gotten fined too. I felt like, him spitting at he can try and gaslight and BS us all he wants. We know what he was trying to do, rage bait and do all that nonsense, because he spit towards the Eagles sideline, towards the Eagles huddle. Like, he's gonna sit there and say, "Well, I wasn't trying to do anything like that. I would never. It's actually insulting that I would ever try and do that. I had to spit. I wasn't trying to spit on my offensive lineman, so I spit ahead. You spit ahead, and then you smiled and you looked at Jalen Carter while doing it. Don't piss on our legs and tell us that it's raining. Come on now. Come on now. Come on now. You knew exactly what you were doing. It worked successfully. You got the guy that you were game planning against out of the game. Good for you. But I think you should have gotten fined too. Not as much as Jalen Carter, but at least like half a game check. I think that's what it should have been. But they didn't see it that way. I think that should have happened. I thought it was very disrespectful of Dak Prescott doing that. Like, could you imagine, like, Jalen Hurts walking into Cowboys Stadium right before the football game and he spits near the Cowboys defensive huddle? Like, Jalen Hurts wouldn't do that. So I think it just speaks volumes, the difference between Jalen Hurts and Dak Prescott in terms of their leadership and how much of a player influential and whatnot, because I wouldn't want to be teammates with Dak Prescott when he's doing stuff like that. It's just Bush League. And honestly, Jalen Carter, yeah, I mean, initially seeing it before getting the full context of the story, I was mad. I was really mad. I was screaming like, "What the fuck are you doing?" For a really long time. I was like, "Bro, what? You can't be doing that. You're our most important player on the defense side of the ball. We need you out there." And it showed when he went out of the game, how much we missed him, because we needed him out there. Because when he didn't play, the pass rush was not as effective, because Jordan Davis and Moro Drummer had to play like 87% of the snaps because Jalen Carter wasn't there, and the pass rush didn't look all that great in the first half when Jalen Carter didn't play. And he takes all the double teams. It just he needs to know that, yes, understand, like, yeah, you gotta. It was disrespectful. I understand, like, why you did it, but in the same sense, you need to know better. How about this? How about play angry? Show your retaliation, how you play on the field. Play angry. Go after that. Go after that motherfucker's legs. I mean, I'm not trying to hurt him, but just go after him and sack him. Go after him and play angry, because when you play angry, that's how dangerous you are. Not trying to say go hurt him, but just dominate people. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I think that he should have done. And he needs to. He'll learn from it. He'll learn from it. And it was good because he took accountability after the game. He said, "Look, it was wrong, and it was a bad thing to do. I play for the fans. I play for my family. I play for my name. Play for this organization." And you know what he did was wrong. That's good that he's taking accountability. And I don't really have much to say about that. Jalen Hurts, I thought Jalen Hurts was the best player on the field. Anybody else says anything otherwise, lying to themselves. A lot of people think that Jalen Hurts gets carried by this offense. I think that's just wrong. He was the one that carried this Eagles team yesterday. He made very special plays with his legs. A lot of people are going to say, like, oh, well, he can't throw a downfield pass. He can't do this, can't do that. I thought actually after looking at the game, like the Cowboys were playing a very deep cover 2 and cover 4 defense. And, they basically wanted to take away our deep shots and take away our passing game and force Jalen to make sport decisions. And it worked out. And when you do that, you leave the underneath game and you leave his rushing lanes. And, the Cowboys don't have anybody to stop in the pass rush because, they traded away Micah Parsons. And Jalen killed them with his legs. He destroyed them with his legs. He made all the right plays, all the right decisions, made some great touchdown runs that he had, the first two, just take what's there. Hey, the lane's open, the lane is open. And he's the reason why we won the game. Went on 3rd and 3 when they motioned out Saquon. I don't know why the Cowboys didn't have a QB spy right there because everybody in the stadium watching it knew that Jalen Hurts was running it on 3rd and 3, and they chose not to do that. I thought he played a really good game. Whatever people on Twitter can say, whatever they want. I thought Jalen played an awesome game, and he was the reason why we won this football game. I think we were just, after the delay, we were moving the ball in the first 3 quarters. We were. But when it got to the lightning delay, we stalled, and we absolutely stalled. It just was like, oh my gosh. When the Eagles stall on offense, they can stall on offense. It's like they get so predictable. Like they're going to be in pistol. When they're in pistol, they're running it. When they're in tight formation, they're going to run it, and it's going to look so ugly and sloppy. Like there could not be a football game, in my opinion, where AJ Brown has 1 target and 1 catch. That cannot happen. Kevin Patolo, let me help you to understand. I don't care if AJ Brown has 1 person guarding him, 2 people guarding him, 3, 4, 5, 6. I don't care if he has Jesus on him. Throw the damn football his way. Call a play for him to run a slant, in-breaker, dig, hitch, something. Give him the football. He cannot go a football game with just 1 target and 1 catch. I mean, granted, that catch he made was very clutch in the 4th quarter. Very, very clutch. But he could not go a football game without that. I think this game on Sunday against the Chiefs, I think he's going to go off. Because remember, McDuffie's kryptonite and is AJ Brown. AJ Brown probably views Trent McDuffie as food. Food! Because he's 5'11", guarding a 6'3" mammoth of a receiver. Yeah. If you know what AJ Brown gonna say to Trent McDuffie? If he dies, he dies. Because in the Super Bowl, Trent McDuffie couldn't guard AJ Brown. Couldn't. Not on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and on Sunday. He couldn't guard him. And he still, I don't think it'll change the same thing. He will not be able to guard AJ Brown. I don't care. But the Eagles' offense has to be getting more consistent. I think a lot of people think that we're really good because of our offense. I personally think our offense stinks. Does anybody just feel the same way? I know we, on paper, we have a God squad. We have Saquon, AJ, Smitty, our offensive line, and Jalen. But does anybody think our scheme sucks? I think our scheme sucks. And that makes the offense just look so bad. I think our scheme just sucks. I wish that the Eagles were able to hire out of the building like they did last year with Kellen Moore. And even with this scheme sucks. I think our scheme and it just sucks. It just sucks. I think our scheme sucks. And when Kellen Moore was calling the plays in the playoffs, especially AFC Championship game in the Super Bowl, I thought he did amazing. But it just, oh my God, it's so hard to watch at times. Eric Calcaterra blocking, oh Lord, it's so bad. It's so bad. I think our scheme just personally sucks. But maybe it's just week 1. I mean, this is what the Eagles always do. The Eagles always play so mediocre in September, but they absolutely turn up in October and November and December. So maybe they just will do that. But maybe it could be very much like last year in 2023, where they were just coasting by games, winning games that they probably shouldn't have. So hopefully it's not like that. Hopefully the team, is just rusty because in the preseason, we don't play our starters, and when you don't play your starters in the preseason, you become very rusty at week one. So maybe, hopefully, it's just that. Hopefully, they have one of those figure it out type of months where they figure out the team, the identity, and then they go from there and they get hot. So I'm hoping that's what it is. Okay, moving on to the next game, the Dolphins and the Colts. Mike McDaniel, Tua Tagovailoa, Chris Greer, you might be finished. These brothers, it might be finished with these three, with this era. Mike McDaniel is not making it to the end of the season. Tua, he's cooked, but he's so cooked that I don't even think that you can even get rid of him because of his contract is so large. Chris Greer, he's getting fired. Tua, on Sunday against the Colts, 14 for 23, 114 passing yards, 3 turnovers. And take a look at what he said after the game in his press conference. I want to share what he said because this was just absolutely just ridiculous. Look what he said. I just can't believe that this guy is a franchise quarterback. I just can't. This man showed zero accountability in that press conference. He showed zero accountability. And it speaks volume to the culture that the Dolphins have right now, especially with Mike McDaniel. Tua, you played like trash against the Colts. You scored 8 points, and the other team scored 33 points. Your 3 turnovers were horrible. Horrible. Those picks that you threw were eggs. Those were noodle on egg picks. And then you had a fumble after getting sacked. Where's the accountability? I can't believe I had a turnover in bunches. I can't believe. What do you mean? What is this bunches shit? You threw it right to the defense. Right to the defense. Take some accountability. How about, man, you know what? Today wasn't our day. And it starts with me. I had 3 really bad turnovers that would help the other team score points. I got to be better from that. I got to learn from that. I got to be better for my team and my teammates and my coaches that I should know better. I have to play better in the situation. I have to make a better read. That's on me. I take responsibility for those throws, and I have to play better. And we'll move on and learn from this from next week. What is this nonsense with that press? Are you just you sound defensive for your play? 3 turnovers, 114 yards? That sounds like you should get benched. I would have benched you. But lucky enough, you make $1 million that if we benched you, it would look bad. The Dolphins are finished. Mike McDaniel will not make it to the end of the season. Chris Greer will not make it to the end of the season. They're getting fired. And because you know what? It's their culture issue. They have poor leadership. Mike McDaniel does not know what he's doing. And I'm not saying he doesn't know what he's doing, because Mike McDaniel knows what he's doing in terms of getting Tua to play very well, and he's a X's and O coach, right? Yeah, he's good. He's getting all that, but it comes down to being a leader of men and getting your guys to play tough. Because the Dolphins don't play tough; they play soft, and they have a bunch of non. They don't have any tough players in that team. Having Tyreek Hill and Jalen Wall. It's just a bunch of small receivers. The offensive line looks weak. It is weak. He's not strong. He's a tissue quarterback. Nobody in the defense that shows any of that toughness. None of that mentality. And when you go up against a team like the Colts, who aren't really all that great either, they're a physical football team. They have Jonathan Taylor ran just right through you. I have nobody to stop it because they play with no toughness, no nothing. It's cool when they play in the 7-degree, 8-degree Miami weather, but when they play in Kansas City, what happened? In the cold, in January, what happened? When they play in Buffalo, what happens? When they play in Baltimore, what happens? What happens? They don't play well. I don't think the Dolphins are finished. They're finished. The Lions and the Packers. This was an intriguing football game. This was an intriguing football game because the Packers look scary. Very, very scary football team. Oh my gosh. First of all, Jordan Love, I love Jordan Love's arm talent. I think he's one of the he has one of the best arm talents in terms of like fitting the needle and shredding it in there in terms of that type of talent as a quarterback. I think their offense looked really, really good, and they're going to be. I think their offense is going to be really good, but their defense and that defensive line, oh man, they absolutely and the linebackers too. They absolutely made Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery in hell. They put them in hell. They said David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, welcome to hell. This is the Green Bay Packers in Lambeau Field. Wow. I mean, Micah Parsons didn't even play majority of the football game. He played like not a lot of snaps, and he was probably the best pass rusher on the field. The pressures that he was generating led into turnovers, and he had one that was a sack. The NFC North, good luck. Thank God he's out of our division. Thank God. Jared Goff, I mean, like, oh my gosh, like, ugh. Well, I'll get into that in a second. But the Packers, they look like Super Bowl contenders, and if they can play like this and they can stay healthy, the defense could have a top 5 year, maybe even top 3 year. And the offense can have a very, very good year too if everybody can stay healthy finally. This team has a Super Bowl contender all over it, and I wouldn't want to play in Green Bay, especially Lambeau Field in January football. Wouldn't want to do it because it is cold and it is loud there. But Micah is only going to get better too with this team, and it's going to be so scary, to watch them play. But the Lions, LOL, without Ben Johnson, ugh. I don't think, in my opinion, I don't think Dan Campbell is that good of a coach. I think he's overrated. I'm not saying he's a bad coach because he should be commended for turning around the culture in Detroit. But I don't think he's all that great, in my opinion. Like, I think he was a Ben Johnson, Aaron Glenn merchant, and they just couldn't generate that much offense and it's not that much explosive plays. I mean, there was a stat where they, didn't have as much. The last time they had like 1 or 2 explosive plays was Week 6 in 2021, which is over 4 years ago. Yeah, I don't think that the Lions are, they're not going to be that bad. I don't think Dan Campbell's that good of a coach. I really don't. And it turns out life without the two coordinators are showing. And, Lions fans can tell us all they want that they were still really good without them. I think replacing your top level coordinators is not an easy thing to do. You're not going to have Ben Johnson, you're not going to have Aaron Glenn every year. So, it's hard to replace those talent. And we had to go through that when we had to replace Shane Steichen and, I can't even say his name because he's on all like, I can't even say his name. I don't even want to say his name. I don't even feel like saying his name. I don't want to say his name because he's the reason why we lost, the Super Bowl. But I'll say it. Jonathan Gannon. So we lost Shane Steichen, we lost Jonathan Gannon. We had to realize that it's hard to replace those 2-level coordinators. And it showed a lot when in 2023, our coordinators were terrible. Matt Patricia, Sean Desai, and Brian Johnson. We didn't play. We weren't all that great. And it showed. And I think it's going to take time to realize that finding the right coordinators. And it might be. I think you should just hire out of the building. Don't promote within. Hire your coordinators outside of the organization and franchise. I don't think Jared Goff is honestly good enough to win you a Super Bowl. I've been saying it for years. People have killed me for that. But I just don't think he's that good enough to win you a Super Bowl. I don't. I don't think he's that good of a quarterback to win the Super Bowl, and it showed this past year and the Super Bowl year with the Rams. I mean, he just doesn't play well under pressure. He just doesn't. When he doesn't have a top level coordinator, he just doesn't play all that well. And it showed yesterday. I mean, the stat line can show like, 31 for 39. That's all that great. But he had a horrible pick in the red zone. Horrible pick, and he just wasn't on time. He was just not on time. He made some poor, lazy throws. And, I don't know. Life is going to be very interesting for this team, without these two. And I'm intrigued to see what happens. I don't know when next week. Yeah. Moving on to the next segment, I want to talk about, this moment, what happened with the Titans and the Broncos game. I want to show this video of Brian Callahan not knowing the rules of an NFL catch. I mean, it was pretty crazy. I don't know what, he is thinking here, but I want to show this. It just didn't make any sense to me, honestly. And we will show it right here. Okay. Here it is. You have an NFL head coach for the Tennessee Titans that apparently doesn't know the rules of football. Does he not know that an elbow on the ground of a catch inbounds equals 2 feet? I mean, later he owned up to it and he took accountability of saying that he probably should have challenged it. But I don't know. Like, what are you doing? Like, why are you employed? Why is he employed? Somebody please tell me why he's employed. It didn't make any sense. But anyways, he's a mess. He should have gotten fired last off season. He should have been a well done head coach and should have somebody new with a new quarterback with Cam Ward. Because my gosh, horrible. The Chiefs and the Chargers played on Friday night in Brazil. It was on YouTube, which we're on YouTube right now. Justin Herbert, Herbie, oh my goodness, bro, Justin Herbert was balling out. The Chiefs' defense, they might look washed, to be honest. Their defensive line couldn't generate any pressure, and especially on the fourth down play when, not fourth down, the third and fourth, when, is the game to try and ice the game. Chris Jones didn't go outside and continue with his contain. He went inside. Justin Herbert said, "Okay, thank you. I'll just run because nobody else is here on the other side of the field." And he ran for 15 yards and ended the game. Justin Herbert absolutely balled out. I've been saying it. He's I think I'm top 7, but I could put him at 6. I want to put him at 5 or 6 because I think he played like that on Friday night. Outplayed Mahomes in that offense. He played very, very well. And if he continues to play plays like that, he could have a MVP caliber year, which we all know that he can. I mean, his first 2 years in the league were like ridiculous years. I think, having a good coaching system, especially Greg Roman. I thought Greg Roman had an awesome game. This could happen because the Chargers are utilizing Keenan Allen better than what the Bears did last season. And him and Keenan have such a great connection too. And shout out to also Quentin Johnson. Good game he played. I thought Ladd also played a really good game too. The offensive line played great against the Chiefs' defensive line, and the Chargers' defense. Tia Tar had a really, really nice game too. We got to slap Travis Kelce, which is pretty funny. Chiefs, man, I think that Super Bowl loss was pretty telling. I think it was pretty telling of what a life would be like for them recently. I mean, yeah, they had a nice offseason to cover the issues. Drafting a left tackle, drafting another receiver in the later rounds. But I just feel like, when Xavier Worthy went down and Travis, that's another like freak injury that they've had that one of their players, like their leaders, like hurt one of their players. It's like, I don't know. They don't have a good running game. Their running game sucks. Like, you trying to tell me that like Kareem Hunt, Isaiah Pacheco is a good running game? It's not happening. I think their running game is terrible. And their receivers, I mean, it was tough because Pat and Hollywood Brown, they had some timing issues early on in the game. Got better later. And Patrick Mahomes, I feel like, is never out of a football game unless the offensive line is not there because he had to play Superman for the Chiefs to even have a chance to win this game, and he did. He made some Superman plays. I mean, the flip falling down on 3rd and 5 over 3 people was crazy. And the 4th and 7 play where he bye time where Khalil Mack is chasing him and he just chucks it across the field and Hollywood Brown is there for the catch. I mean, like, oh my God. I mean, he kind of deserved the glaze in those 2 plays, but I think whenever you have Patrick Mahomes, you're never out of it. I just think that the Chiefs defense, especially Spags, because Spags had to blitz because their defensive line couldn't create any pressure, and the Chargers picked up those blitzes very, very well. And when they picked up those blitzes very well, they got beat downfield, and their secondary didn't play that well too. I don't think Jalen Watson's that good of a corner. I don't think Tremaine Connor's that good of a corner. And, and it showed when they lost Justin Reed and they lost, Jarius Sneed that their secondary just hasn't looked all that great, in my opinion. They haven't looked all that great. And they're in a world of trouble if it continues to play this way. They have a tough matchup this week against the Eagles. And if they fall 0-2, wow, that'd be crazy. That'd be crazy. But we'll see. We'll just have to see at this point, and the Chiefs, they just didn't look all that great. And I would be concerned if I was a Chiefs fan. At least I feel like coming off a game where you got embarrassed in the Super Bowl, you'd want to play better, and it just doesn't feel like they're playing better. It doesn't feel like they're as good as they were. Moving on to the final segment of the show today. Thank you guys for sticking with me in this live show today. This is our first live show of the show. The Summer I Turned Pretty. The recap of episodes 8 and 9. Finally, Jeremiah and Belly's wedding, came to a close. It did not happen because, Conrad basically confessed his love. He confessed his love to Belly, and it kind of ruined everything. Honestly, Jeremiah I think he had a reason to, be mad at Conrad. But at the same point, it's like, what was the point? I don't even feel like Belly. I don't even feel like Belly. Like, I feel like he was never Belly's true girl for him because she had history with Jeremiah, and Jeremiah, he was the one that called off the wedding. He said he was the one that broke up with her. So I don't know why in episode 9 that he was acting so upset and he was wanting Belly back. He's like, "Oh, I want Belly back. It's still enough time. We still be together." Like, dude, you were the one that broke up with her. You were the one that broke up with her. And don't get me wrong here. Like him acting so petty and so childish and so egotistical and so oh my gosh, what is the word? I'm forgetting the word. Aggressive towards Conrad when they were in the house. Conrad's trying to help this boy because he just basically ruined his wedding. And I would be mad too. But I just feel like he's always trying to one up his brother. It's always about competition. It never was really about him loving Belly. It just really felt like competition. And honestly, Jeremiah's a bit of a narcissist. He is. He's a bit of a narcissist. I'm honestly glad that Steven found out finally that Jeremiah cheated on her with some girl, Lacey Barone, and his reaction was so cool. I think I could pull up the reaction right here. I thought it was such a great reaction, him finding out about Jeremiah, because it's just like that. Like, I think Jeremiah is just such a narcissist. He is. He's a narcissist. He's a narcissist. Especially with Belly. And in the episode, he calls Belly. Well, I think Belly called him, and she's all like, like, Jared, what are we doing? Like, they're calling it, like, checking on each other and whatnot. And Jeremiah's like, Belly, please come back home and please. And Belly's like, I don't know if I can, Jeremiah. I don't think I need to figure out myself. He's like, okay, don't ever call me back. Like, dude, you were the one that called her. You were the one that called her. You were the one that was begging for her to come back. And now she says no, and you don't. This dude is like, there's something wrong with this dude. There's something wrong with this dude. And Conrad just felt like, in my opinion, I think Conrad just felt like a punching bag the last 2 episodes. It was everybody. Steven, it was Taylor, it was Belly, it was Jeremiah, it was everybody. It was coming after Conrad. Conrad, man, I'm hoping that he just ends up like going back to California and getting himself his own girl at this point. But we want the storyline to continue. We're all Team Conrad at this point. I also feel like Steven and Taylor's plot, it feels forced. and it's just dragging like the pace of the show. Like, we all thought Steven was going to be with Denise. I was actually pushing for that. And they teased us for about 3-4 episodes, only for it to be so anticlimactic, and only for the writers to go back to the Steven and Tara plot. Like, if you were just going to have them come together, then why don't you just do it in the beginning of the season? Don't have this little, I thought that plot sucked. And Belly going off to Paris and having her half the episode trying to find her bag after it was stolen, that was useless too. This whole Paris storyline, it feels so useless and not connected with the plot, because what is she doing out there? And everything, all the dramas back and happen in Cousins and whatnot. But the last 2 episodes are coming tomorrow, and the finale of the show is next week. So we shall see. Hopefully, Belly and Conrad get together, and that is it. Thank you guys for watching another episode of Timeout with Makali. This is I thought this is another great episode. This is our first live show that we've done today. The full episode is coming out with all the edits, and the shorts are coming out soon. Thank you guys for sticking with me for another great episode. Please don't forget to subscribe on YouTube, on here. Do not forget to follow on Apple Podcasts. Also, not forget to follow us on TikTok and Instagram and Twitter. Links will be in the description and on the screen. Please come back for another episode. Thank you guys for watching the show, and I can't wait to watch another slate of football and another episode of Timeout with me. Another episode of December I Turn Pretty. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace.